And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess, crusty old guy staring down the camera. It's a little weird, a little freaky. Just
Sorry.
as a reminder, folks, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. Crusty begins the dog days of the off season. I miss
Yes.
hockey already.
Yes. The complete quiet time. But I have people on the X and the Y and the Z helping me through it. They're sending me little clips of different people training saying they're all supermen. They've improved 1,000%, all of them. So
Yeah,
that's good.
I just watched the Beauty League on YouTube. That's way more fun than whatever you're dealing with.
No, this just occasionally pops up, and then it's like, oh my god, look at him. I'm like, okay. And then I had some other guy look at Connor Bedard's legs look a lot bigger. Now, should I be worried about somebody looking at a 19-year-old boy's legs? Maybe. Sorry. Speed bump number one. Back to you.
Getting into the NHL world, we have a mixed bag of different things. You've got Jeff Skinner, crusty old guy's favorite, to the San Jose Sharks. Yeah. He said, I had a slim taste of playoff hockey, and now I will go to San Jose.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's figuring he'll be moved again at the deadline, or Skinner's always been about the money, and maybe he just wants to get paid.
Which honestly, can't blame him. Can't blame him.
He's going to make more this year than I made in my probably. Well, maybe not.
Make the money.
Yes.
Another one that I should have seen coming, but I also didn't see coming just because I like this guy, and this broke a lot of hearts for Vancouver Canucks fans. You got the Archer Sheloff to the Pittsburgh Penguins. This makes sense with what Vancouver's already done. I'm still a little confused with like how much in the duration that they signed Thatcher Demko for a man who's probably going to be out in November. But Pittsburgh, on the other hand, is really, really in goaltender trouble. So I'm hoping Sheloff actually gets an NHL chance because he really hasn't. He's gotten a little bit. We saw it with the postseason in the 23-24 season. He just won the Abbotsford Canucks the Calder Cup like a month and a half ago. So I'm really hoping that, he gets a decent shot in Pittsburgh because, Pittsburgh's unhappy with Tristan Jarry and they really don't have another option right
now. No, at the end of the day, I mean, Dubas is trying to catch lightning in a bottle. And again, he looked good in his little bit of time. And again, looked really good in the AHL. The Pens are tied to no one in net. Jarry, I think, has another 2 years left, but they don't care.
Right.
I mean, he could easily win the position.
And I think he will. I know a lot of people were like, oh, he really hasn't had time up. He really hasn't had time up. We're putting all of our eggs in the basket of the man could have crumbled during the postseason for 23-24 with the Vancouver Canucks. That could easily have gone a different way. And in my opinion, that speaks more volumes than having like a 15-game stint in the regular season.
Yes. I'm messing with my microphone. Could you tell?
Yeah, because I am getting the bugs.
Oh. How about now?
That's louder.
How about now?
That's better.
Okay. Huh. How about now?
Krusty doesn't know what he's doing. That's even better. No. What?
This?
Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah.
All right. In case it gets too warm and the air conditioner turns on, that might. Oh, I got like knobs. I was turning them. I am so sorry. Speed bump number two.
Number two.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the move. I just, we talk a lot on this show. Goaltenders are a weird group, and they all of a sudden find their niche at any time. And Pittsburgh needs some form of
They
jump.
need something in net.
Yeah,
They need somebody.
and they
in net.
need somebody in net
Even
that
if
all of a
Yari
sudden.
is performing well, you need someone else. You're not gonna. That's a lot to throw on him to perform for.
Right, and the thing is, Jari just hasn't.
Yeah.
It's too much last year, the year before. We need a save, and there ain't shit. So again, it's a Sid-led team. You get a couple saves when you need them. You never know. So
Yeah. So I like the move. You've got. I'm gonna botch his name because I really don't know how to pronounce most of the Utah Mammoth lineup, but you've got Carconi, some
Carconi. I don't know.
extension with the Utah Mammoth for one more year. Had a meeting with the press at some point during this week. Seems to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder, eager to prove more going into this year with the Utah Mammoth. And then we have one manager or coaching hiring that Christy we didn't talk about, and this is like weeks old, friends. So I'm very sorry.
What happened?
We have not talked about Brent Seabrook being a part of the Calgary Flames.
Didn't we talk about that a little bit?
No.
Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and talk about it. What's he doing now? Player development?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's like Kendall LaCoin. No, he's trying to get back into it.
I love this I love seeing any of the dynasty people just back into hockey.
Yeah, I think, it might even happen with Dunk. I can tell you that it's probably not a big role for Biscuit right now. But once their kids get to like 15 or 16, then all bets are off. I believe they're both going to be hanging with their kids a little bit more. I believe Dunk is coaching his kid. But once they get to a level where they take off, but then it's either you go follow them or you decide maybe to get in and into it seriously again. So, back into the NHL game.
But love this for Biscuit because him and Dunk included, the hockey brains that the two of them have are just absolutely massive. So I think this works well with the kids in Calgary. I think works well for Seabrook right now. Slam dunk and happy to have him back in the NHL.
Woo woo.
And then last but certainly not least, we have our own signing. You've got Anton Frundell with his entry level. Guys, this doesn't mean he's going to play in Chicago. It just means that he has signed his entry level. And as everyone has pointed out, he could play at any level. He could go back to Sweden. He could play in the NHL. He could play in Rockford. He is going to go back to Sweden. It isn't 100% confirmed yet, but as we talk about every week, because it's the thing that everybody likes to speculate about, this entry-level signing does not mean that it's a surefire he's in Chicago come October. It just means that we've locked him down.
No, it does not mean that whatsoever. I can give you one guarantee. He will not be going to Rockford.
No, because he's already said he's not going to Rockford.
He already said he doesn't want to go there. But yeah, it's a signing, no big deal. His contract won't start.
Yeah. And now, Christy, we have our fun little question.
Oh, the question that you wouldn't even tell me about. You wanted
no,
to
not
see
that
how
question. We'll get to that question when we talk about the big club.
Oh, okay.
Was our other little silly one that I definitely totally didn't steal from SDPN, the Steve Dangle podcast. But you know what? They throw out fun things, and we need to do fun hockey things and not just harp over the same 3 things until October.
Oh, we got to kowtow to our audience and okay.
Not even that, it's just I'm doing what I want.
Okay. Well, I am pulling up teams now just so I can double check
So,
my stuff.
Presty. Well, we're going to explain. We've kind of explained it with us telling everybody that nobody has a no movement clause last week. There's a magical thing in people's contracts that some people have called the no trade clause. And it's usually the showstopper, the top guys in the teams. It was Johnny, Patrick Kane, Duncan Keith, Brent Seabrook, those sort of things. They always had no trade clauses. But sometimes there's a modification with that. There's no trade clauses, which means you can't trade me at all. There's no trade, but I've got a list of 10 teams, or I have a list of 8 teams, or I forget the actual number that Nicholas Hjalmarsson had, where it was like, I have a no trade unless you trade me to Arizona, and then I'm fine with it. So, and that just is based off of like contract negotiations, but sometimes there's no trade except for these few. So, we are going to play what are our 3 no trade cities. So, Magic Hat, we're in the NHL right now. What are 3 teams that you do not want to go to?
I do not like doing this.
Why?
Because at the end of the day, I'm shitting on 3 fan bases, and I just don't like to do that. But you're the boss here, so okay. Do you want all 3 of mine now?
Sure.
Okay.
You
Well,
can do 1 and 1. You can do your 3.
Well, my first
shit on the fan bases. You can do it in a polite manner.
Well, you did ask me about this earlier, and
yes, because I think if I didn't ask you, we'd be here for an hour.
Yes, and one team came to mind in the first minute, so that is
also
I am not being traded to Buffalo.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say they got some passionate, diehard fans. Then shout out to the Buffalo Sabres fan base, because I don't know how y'all do it, but it's cold. Kevin Adams doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing. I mean, I don't think he knows that he can draft a forward in the NHL draft. I'm just confused on where the team's at, and it's cold.
Yes, it's cold. The team's crap. The city is Their fan base, they love their hockey. I mean, every Stanley Cup final, the top 2 draws for TV are the 2 teams playing, and usually number 3 is Buffalo. So I feel awful that they can't get a team, but yeah, I am not going there. That is fair. A complete and utter mess. So now I got to come up with 2 more teams that are.
Well, here, I'll go with my number 2, because Buffalo was also on my list as well. My number 2, this is also heavily biased on the fact that I'm a Chicago girly. Not even just the rivalry of the teams, but it's a city-to-city rivalry across really any sport, and that's St. Louis. Just not the biggest fan of the city. I think not to the level of Buffalo Sabres, but I don't understand really what's going on. And I think if I want to be in the Midwest, there's other markets that I would rather be. And also, I'm a Blackhawk girly. I don't want to go to the Blues.
Yeah, they hate us.
Exactly.
I mean, I would assume it's gotten a little better since they won their cup. But yeah, they just hated us. As far as my number 2, place everybody wants to go supposedly, but my number 2 is Nashville.
Snapdragon.
That's what everybody says. How could you not want to go to Nashville? Well, to your viewers, I will put it in a simple way. Number 1, I don't drink. Number 2, I hate country music. So now I will put it out to your fan base. What else can I do in Nashville? Because the only 2 things I know about Nashville are that. Don't tell me there's cowboys. There's no real cowboys in Nashville.
What about the team itself? Aside from our hatred for just
I can't be associated with a team that celebrates just winning a division. Okay? I can't. So, and a fan base that does their silly cheers when a goaltender's playing lights out, I don't need to play for that either. So that's my number 2. I understand that most people would like to go there, but for this crusty, it's a no-go. And I got to pick 3, so.
Yeah, true that.
So now I got to pick one more, huh?
Yeah.
All right, well, why don't you talk first? I got to look.
I got to think. I had my top 2.
I think I have my 3 too.
My number 3 really isn't even about the city, because I think being rich in the city of New York would be fun. And you're not really living in New York City. You're living in Westchester and making millions and living in New York. That would be fun. That's a very different life than me going to New York for 48 hours. But it just seems like, from like a management to player relation, that at least right now, it's very toxic. Very, very toxic. It seems like they do everything to kind of push you out, and then we'll turn around and be like, oh, we did everything. He's the villain because he wants to leave Madison Square Garden. Who wouldn't want to be a New York Ranger? But they've done so. It just seems a little questionable in terms of like management and how they kind of take care of the team. That would probably make the New York Rangers my top 3.
Okay.
But nothing to do with the city, because I think, like I said, being rich in New York would be fun. But working for the Ranger management doesn't sound like fun.
Okay, well, I've got a question then.
Mm-hmm.
Am I basing this on it would be this summer that I'm traded to the team?
Yeah, you're being traded like tomorrow.
Man. I don't know who I would pick. I really. Okay. Well, see, I had 2. Can I have 2?
Yeah, you can have 2.
Okay. The one is Ottawa. Just from us going there last year, and just where that stadium is, you are out in the middle of nowhere. I would assume if you are living in Ottawa, you are living close to the downtown area would be nice. It's
Which
very
was beautiful.
It's very historic. It's the capital. But you're talking about an hour drive to games. It's just nuts. But that's a really big up and coming team. And if I'm me, I need to be a part of that. I want to play with Brady Tkachuk. That I know for a fact. So they would go off of my list. And on my list, I'm not going to Detroit. It's not happening. I understand Patty Kane's there, but I'm still not going to Detroit.
That's fair.
So
Detroit's also one of those right now where I'm kind of just confused on what's going on.
I think they all are.
The Yzer plan.
The Yzer plan should be questioned. Part of that plan just goes to show you miss once, and he swung and missed on a number 6 pick, who not even playing in the NHL. He went back to Europe, and he fell. He was supposed to go 2 or 3. What was his name?
Zadina.
Yeah, Zadina. And that gap, that's a top 10 pick that did nothing for you. So this genius had a number 6 pick and got nothing for him. That kills you. That absolutely kills you. I originally liked him going out and getting his like somewhat worker bees, but it's hard to just get pure talent.
Yeah.
It's just, it's difficult. Everything has to come together so much. So I think right now they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, your best player is disgruntled. So that doesn't help.
No, it definitely doesn't. So that's our 3-team on no trade list. And then next week, we're going to balance, because Krusty's kind of right. We shouldn't just harp on teams where we wouldn't want to go. So maybe next week we'll do our 3 favorite outside of Chicago. If you're a player, where do you want to go? Think about it. We'll do it next week.
Can we put restrictions on that?
We can do whatever we want.
How about the restriction being they can't have been in the cup for the last 5 years?
Sounds good.
Because you know for a fact the first place you want to go to Florida.
Well, I want to go to Florida for Tomo Rutu and Seth Jones, but
I mean, you want to go there. It's a warm destination with an incredible team. So I'd like the incredible team part. I'd like to take at least a little bit out. Can I do that? I know this isn't my show.
Do that.
I know I don't have any rights on here.
That's okay. We're gonna do that, but we're gonna do that next week so we can think on it.
I'll forget.
Jumping back to Rockford. So at the time of recording, the NHL schedule is not yet, but by the time this comes out, the NHL schedule will be out. So we're not really going to speculate it on a little bit when we get to the big club, but the full Rockford schedule is out. So I just wanted to throw out some notable things about this season. You've got the home opener on October 11th. That's Saturday night home game against the Milwaukee Admirals. A new face that we haven't seen in the past couple of years. The Rockford IceHogs are going to be facing the Hershey Bears this season. You got 2 games at home, and then you've got 2 games away. Reminder, with the AHL, it's very different from the NHL. You don't play everybody every year, and you certainly don't play everybody multiple times throughout the year. You usually play within your division very heavily. Those are the teams that you can always guarantee that you'll play every year and a lot throughout the year. That's why division rivalries in the AHL are so heightened, because it's not like, oh, you're seeing these guys twice. You're seeing these guys like 8 times. But for the Eastern Conference, like last year, they did like a little bit of a tour kind of in the East Coast area. You know, they played Hartford. They played, I'm blanking on the city, but it's St. Louis's affiliate that's out in the East Coast. They played a couple of them. I only know because watching Dalibor Dvorsky. But so they're playing Hershey this year. Of course, it had to be the year that Todd Nelson isn't going to be there, but oh well, it's fun. So we're playing Hershey January 3rd and 4th away in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and then February 27th and 28th will be at home. The All-Star, it's not a weekend. The All-Star time is on like a Tuesday and a Wednesday. But that is in Rockford this year. They are hosting it, which I think is going to be great for the city. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the fan base that, you know, regularly goes to Rockford IceHog games in that community. So that is going to be February 10th and 11th. Then you got the final home game for the season, April 10th against the Iowa Wild. And I just want to break down kind of everybody that's Rockford is facing and who their NHL affiliates are, because I think we talked about it at the beginning of the season last year, but we're just going to break it down again for anyone that's new, and because I like to talk minor league hockey. So Rockford IceHogs, of course, are the Chicago Blackhawks affiliate. You've got the Texas Stars that are the Dallas Stars AHL affiliate. You've got the Iowa Wild, who are the Minnesota Wild's AHL affiliate. You got the Grand Rapids Griffins, which is the Dead Wings AHL affiliate. Chicago Wolves, which is the Carolina Hurricanes AHL affiliate. Manitoba Moose, AHL affiliate to the Winnipeg Jets. You've got the Milwaukee Admirals, which is the AHL to Nashville Predators. San Diego Gulls, which is the AHL to the Anaheim Ducks. Hershey Bears, which is AHL to the Washington Capitals. And you've got the Colorado Eagles, which is the AHL to the Colorado Avalanche. So those are everybody that we're going to face, mainly in our division, some new faces. It'll be a fun year.
Yeah, it should be a really fun year. I've decided to turn on and off my microphone because the locusts that are not
they're loud.
Yeah, I noticed that listening to last week's, and there's nothing I'm out in nature, and I can't go inside and light up a cigar. So
that is true.
You guys are just going to have to deal with this.
We have 2 additions as well to the Rockford Ice Hogs roster.
Yeah, where's the beef?
What?
Well, who are the 2 additions?
You got Joe Carroll, who's a forward signing from the Orlando Solar Bears. And then you've got Bouchelet, Jeremy Bouchelet. It's French-Canadian. I don't know how to pronounce it. Who's a defenseman from the San Jose Barracuda. So 1 forward, 1 defenseman. Like we talked about last week, there will be kids in Rockford, especially because with some signings, Kyle Davidson has really made it easy for these vets to block the young kids. So we're going to have some young kids in Rockford. But because some AHL guys have left, the Gut Punch and some others that have left, you still have to sign some AHL vets to Rockford. It's not going to be an entire team of young kids.
Right, and what I was getting at is Carroll is 6'2", 205, and Bluchler is 6'4", 220. That's what beautiful. I meant by where's the beef.
That's
so
beautiful.
they brought in 2 big boys.
Love that.
So with everybody brought in, I would assume Stanford is definitely gone.
Yeah. Now to the big club. So like we said, the season isn't out yet, but it will be out by the time our show comes out. So we're going to speculate it on it next week. I'll probably drop our favorite games on Thursday, though, like I did last year. But we have 1 game that was announced, and I have questions to the general Blackhawk fan base because there seems to be a lot of uproar on why are we facing the Florida Panthers?
I get that. Panthers roar. Wow, that was good.
Why are we facing the Florida Panthers? Why are we at the banner raising game? Why is it Florida versus Chicago? Guys, we're always at the Stanley Cup Champions banner raising. This is like the 3rd time in the past 5 years that we've done. This isn't new. The NHL wants to make it an easy game for the banner raising, a good game for the fans, for TV. So, of course, they're going to play us. There was just a lot of anger on, why it was us. And I'm like, why wouldn't it be us? My only thing that I find ridiculous is, 1, that it's a triple header. Not that it's a triple header for the first game, but it's a 4 o'clock start for us because it's 5 p.m. Eastern. Why?
Works for me.
Well, you're retired.
I'm just unemployed.
That is true. So we have the first game out, first game of the season. We'll be facing Seth Jones, our guy. Be seeing Tomorutu. I'm really glad that it's Tomorutu the away game and not the home game. I mean, I'll still be here for it, but it's a really long season when the Rutu game's at the beginning of the season.
I hear you. And as far as why us, number 1, the Blackhawks are a draw. They still are a draw. You've got a lot of people living in a lot of different places that are Blackhawk fans that will tune in. the Blackhawks also have an incredible working relationship with the NHL. The NHL says, help us out here. Blackhawks go, hey, we got you. Also, I think the reasoning why they've last couple of years they've gotten a ton of weekend games. I think there's one hand washes the other. So I'm figuring a ton of more weekend games this year. But the Blackhawks are more than willing to step up. They stepped up for the Winter Classic when they knew they didn't have quite a team for it, but the NHL wanted them. So they said, fine. So that's the other reason. I don't know what to tell you as far as the 4 o'clock start. That's the way it
It's a
goes
little silly.
sometimes. Take the
It's a
day
little
off work.
silly.
It's opening day.
Yeah.
Just sit at home and watch 3 hockey games in a row. It'll be the first game of everybody's season, so it won't be very good hockey also.
Hey, we've beat the Florida Panthers the past couple of times, so who knows?
Yes.
You'll be able to watch 3 hockey games in a row if you can afford it. I will not, because I am poor.
Yeah, we have to start reaching out. I need to know what the plan is for this app. I guess I keep on saying that I'm going to reach out to somebody.
Yeah, you should do some work.
Maybe I'll reach out to the ticket rep and see if there's a way to figure this out and see if it's gotten any better. Because I don't know exactly what I will be doing either, but I will be watching.
Well, yes. One of us has to watch.
Yes, one of us has to watch. I'm the one stuck watching this.
Yeah, I watch Rockford. All right. Now for the question, the magic question.
Magic question, just all of a sudden came out of nowhere.
Shout out to Between the Benches, our friends at Between the Benches, for sending this in. Is Kevin Korchinski your best trade asset? And if so, what do you want realistically for him?
Pretty good question.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I am feeling honored that they asked us a question. I really like that. So shout out again to them. Is he your best? No. Is he probably the best of what you're okay with trading away? Yes. NASCAR is a much better trade option. I would say probably even Oliver Moore is, and Renzel, Artie's more. But as far as somebody that you wouldn't mind moving, who's going to bring you the most, yes. He is in realistically, what do I want for him?
Because I know we were talking during the draft that you were wanting one of Pittsburgh's 10 or 12 or 11 or 12 pick for him.
Yes.
But the draft has passed. What do you want, and what do you think that, like, realistically, like, is there like a person or a trade? Because I know in your head you've come up with many a trade scenario to trade away Kevin Korchinski. Is that what realistically do you get, or do you hope to get, if you're trading away Kevin?
McTavish. I am looking for maybe a player a tiny bit below McTavish, but how about Oliver Moore, Kevin Korchinski for McTavish, and Owen Zellweger? Zellweger is upset about his playing time a little bit. I don't know if he'd get much more with us, but he's a very, very good defenseman also. But so I'm looking for, if it's not McTavish, somebody who's on the cusp, who is a top 6 talent at the forward position. So what does that look like? A Frost, Um, you know, you've got the Jaeger kid who got drafted a couple years ago. Somebody like that. Um, the Barlow kid, Colby Barlow. I mean, so a forward that you figure is about ready to make the jump. I think anything less than that, and you're inksnaying it, I just don't know what his value is. Um, there's still going to be teams that will salivate over what he can do offensively. So if you're dealing with a team that is lacking for a puck moving defenseman, Core's not exactly a puck moving defenseman, but he is more of a Brian Campbell. He can bring it up on his own.
Right.
And he's got offensive talent. That is for darn sure. But that's
Yeah.
probably what I'm looking at. It's going to be a difficult one because you're also then, if you're KD, you're admitting a mistake with the first pick you've ever made, which it's already coming to that. I've seen, the top 100 prospects in the NHL, and he's at like 62.
Where is your guy?
Whereas my guy, Artie,
No. Denton Matichuk.
he's not even considered a prospect, okay? He's already played a year in the NHL and played really well and got one vote for the Calder. So he's not a prospect. I think Renzel was 29.
Which I get that.
So that's kind of what you're looking for. He is a name that you are going to hear a lot just because you now have Artie. Everybody's salivating over Sam Renzel. And I've done my best to tell everybody to slow their roll.
A little balance because I love Sam Renzel.
And I continue to say that with people to slow their roll because everybody tells me, but look at those last 10 games. If you believe that, I would like you to go back and watch the 2 games against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Those were in the last 10. And tell me what you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked pretty awful. So for me, that's about it. You want somebody who's on the cusp, but definitely he's got to be a top 20 pick. I mean, Core was a 7, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Core was 7, Frank was 13.
But ideally, that's it. The McTavish stuff just won't die. And
Give me Mason McTavish. I will give you my 2026 first round unprotected for Mason McTavish. No, that's ridiculous. I'd only give that for Jason Robertson.
But I don't believe he is the type of defenseman that they're looking for. So that's where the hiccup comes with that. But you have plenty of players from that draft. We could pick up that draft and pick apart probably 3 forwards that we want, or maybe 3 forwards from last year's draft, or the year after that draft, 2 years ago. So that's kind of what you're looking for. But it has to still be a good sell high.
Yeah.
Because that's somebody with a lot of offensive upside, that's for sure. And as I've said with Core, I am not a fan. So I try not to go too crazy about being prejudiced about this. But if he can play average NHL defense, he's a good find because he could be very special offensively.
Yeah.
So it's a good question. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we love questions.
We do.
All right. Getting to Blackhawk Lore. Guys, we're going to do double Blackhawk Lore this week because I'm going to be honest, we didn't do it last week. That's not my honesty, but my honesty is, guys, I was moving and I had about 2 brain cells that were working last week, so we did not do Blackhawk Lore. So we're going to do double.
All right.
Christy?
Huh?
Is that okay with you, Christy?
That's okay with me. It ain't my show. I just do what I'm told.
So I've got one. And Krusty's got one.
I will say, you put me down one hell of a rabbit hole. You spun me up beyond belief.
For the lore that I gave you?
Yes.
All right, I'll go first and then you can take the rest of the time. So if you want to mute the locusts. So my first Blackhawk lore, and it's hard to imagine that I'm doing this as lore because, yeah. Krusty, I can't hear you. Yeah.
Now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I'm going to turn this off and it'll be city. Now country. You hear the difference?
Jesus. Speed
Country.
bump number 3. It's hard to believe that this is lore because in my head it didn't stop, 6 years ago. It feels like we'd still been doing this a couple of years ago, but it's been a minute since the last one. Many, many moons ago, friends, there used to be a magical thing called the Blackhawk Convention. Hockey Princess and Krusty Old Guy spent many a weekend in the basement of the Hilton, the really big one on Michigan Avenue in the city, and it was great. I spent many a birthday there because it always fell on my birthday weekend, which actually this is perfect timing to talk about the Blackhawk Convention. But it was a great couple of weeks. Krusty is just off the deep end today, guys. It was a great couple of weeks in July because you would have the draft, have free agency. That's back when we had on ice development camp, and then it would go straight into the convention. So it was 3 days, like I said, usually mid-July, Friday to Sunday, and you were able to meet players, get pictures with players, autographs. This would be present, past, broadcasters, coaches. There was one time that Dale Talon was working the line because Dustin Bufflin slept in. It was great. It was just a really, really great, fun thing to do. Met a lot of fans. Like you would just be talking to people in line because depending on the person, you were camped out there for a while. I know many a time that I would the doors would open at 9 and I'm down there at 4:30 in the morning and I'm not the first person in line, but it was a good time. It was really fun. It was always one of the highlights of the summer, just being able to meet everybody. You'd be able to meet people that were up and coming, like baby Tavo Teravainen back when he didn't speak any English was there. I remember, I think it was Victor Stahlberg's first media appearance was the Blackhawk Convention, and nobody really knew who he was. And that was kind of just the talk of the line for at least that morning of who is this guy? Because he just showed up at the convention. But not everybody went. I know there was one year where I forget who was getting married, but everybody that was from Sweden wasn't there because I think it was Johnny Oduya's wedding. I could be wrong. But it was just a really cool way to meet players, meet other fans. They stopped it with COVID and then just never brought it back. Part of me wishes it would come back because it would be fun, but part of me also I kind of understand why they don't have it anymore with social media as intense as it is, because it wasn't this. It was very different back in 2010. And the players are staying there. I think you just run into a lot of more cameras shoved in everybody's faces, I think, if you do it now. But I hope at some point further down the road, they bring back some sort of more fan interaction thing, because it was really fun when I went for many, many years with Krusty.
Well, yes, it was a really good time. You glanced over the best part, which was you had prospect camp, and then the prospects would all stick around, and then the big club would come in for that weekend So you'd be able to get like autographs and stuff like that of all of the new players halfway easily because they'd have to do most of the work.
Yeah.
They had to, do it for the most part. And the convention evolved as the team became greater and greater. And I get that part where your top players, everybody wants a piece of you, and they want to give back, but sometimes it's too crazy. But I like the interaction between fans. Occasionally, there's the always, I'm a bigger fan than you. You get stuck
Right.
with somebody in line like that, and I just try to quiet down then. Um, but you got some great stories from people because you were stuck in line with them for a while. Plus, they had a lot of really well done question and answers. And
Sunday mornings were always my favorite because it was Stan Mikita, Bobby Hull, and Tony Esposito. Because it was story time with the grandparents, and it was fantastic.
yeah, and Bobby was probably going on like 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
So that was really neat. Plus, through that, you had a lot of characters, which were really fun to listen to during these question and answers things. It was unbelievably well run. I miss it a lot. I understand why they stopped. They're not quite as good. You might get some backlash, and I think if it comes back, it'll be a little different. But the new group, what they're going to start calling the new core, this or that or whatever, they're all going to be pretty entertaining also. I mean, when you get
Yeah.
to see the beacon of hope, let his guard down after this team has made their mark on the NHL. It's hard to joke around and talk the talk until you've walked it at least a little bit come playoff time. So
And I think, too, what I liked about it is being able to, like we've said, meet other fans. But, there's a lot of things throughout the season that, Christy, we've been privileged to go to because you're a season ticket holder. And that was one of the like bigger things and bigger access points where fans could meet players that weren't season ticket holders.
yes, yeah, and it became something really cool that you could bring like the tiny tots to, and they could, they get the chance to walk up and say something to an NHL player. And most of the players were very fun and very good about all giving out all of their time with everything. Um, so yeah, I'm sad that it's gone. I'm sure it'll come back at some point in time. But it was really neat. It was it was the highlight of the summer, and it definitely helped with the dog days of you know this part of the season
Yeah.
where it is off season summertime.
So that's my lore. Christy, do you want to share your rabbit hole findings?
Well, Alan, I was
Bear in
given
mind,
it.
I gave you a list and you didn't choose from the list, so I chose four.
Yes, you gave me a big list, and then you chose for me. And what did you choose for me?
Crawford.
Yes, the importance of Corey Crawford.
Because I feel like with Johnny coming back to the Winnipeg Jets, with Kane signing another contract, with Siebes going to work with the Calgary Flames, a lot of 2010 nostalgia, dynasty nostalgia gets brought up. And then there's one guy that seems to be left out of it, mainly because he's been on the quieter side compared to the other folks. But that is the importance of Corey Crawford.
Yes, and so I started to go through this, and this is a big sticking point for a crusty old guy because um, basically, I will still say it to this day. He is the most underrated NHL player I've ever witnessed in my life. Somebody who's gotten no respect. So, I started going through everything. I believe for his career, Crawford had a 918 save percentage and 2.4 goals against for his career. Okay, I get to hear about Pecorine, how he might be a Hall of Famer. 918 save percentage with a 2.45 and no cups. Jonathan Quick, who's all God, who's all everything. He's got a 9. Hold on, wait. Where is?
I'm just really impressed Christy has notes.
I got notes. So Quick's lifetime 9.21 or 921 save percentage, a smidgen better than Crawford. 2.31, a smidgen better than Crawford. He's a lock for the Hall of Fame. So I don't know why Corey Crawford is not a lock for the Hall of Fame, or a lock to at least have his number hanging from the banners. I know part of the reason. Part of the reason was one silly ass comment on one game. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals against Boston. When all of a sudden, Corey Crawford has a weak glove hand. He's the problem. He's a problem. I'm going to give you.
Never been the problem.
I'm going to give you Corey Crawford's save percentages from the Stanley Cup Finals in 2013. When I kept on having to hear about that other guy from Boston, whatever his name was. That's right, nobody remembers him. Okay, game 1, 944 save percentage. Game 2, 926. Game 3, 943. One game, an 8-4 save percentage. And then some motor mouth saying he doesn't have a glove hand. So what did he do? A 9-6 for the next game, and then a 9-2 for the next game. Basically won that series for the Blackhawks. He was lights out. As Patrick Kane stated, I don't deserve the Conn Smythe. That should be Corey Crawford's. And yet, nobody wants to talk about him. Oh, he was on a better team. So was Jonathan Quick. Okay? So was Pecorine, playing for a team that did nothing but play defense. Okay? Couple problems with Corey. Number one, Corey was mechanically sound as all get out. So basically, you didn't see the crazy saves because he was never in position. It always looked like an easy save because he was in the correct position. Okay, 2 Jennings trophies. That means the lowest goals against in the league. In the 13 year when they won the cup and the 15 year. None of these other clowns have that. I don't understand why he's not considered one of the best goaltenders from that time. I got Mike Smith on there. Mike Smith took his spot in the 2014 Olympics. Why? Why, I ask? Mike Smith had one good year. Okay? Granted, it happened to be where Corey had his worst year. And that's the other thing. Corey Crawford, still in that 11-12 season where they went down to Phoenix, he let in one from the icing line that went in a breakaway that would have destroyed goaltenders for the rest of their career. Not Corey Crawford. He came back, won a Jennings, and then won a Stanley Cup. I started going through everybody. And there's not that many goaltenders that were better than him. There just wasn't. On that Canada team, there was Luongo and Carey Price. And I still believe he was a better goaltender than Luongo. So he's your second best Canadian goaltender. Just disrespected up and down. Look at the numbers. His save percentage is off the frigging hook. And again, what he did in that Boston series, you won't see that ever again. I didn't even go and look up the Tampa one, which was basically the last game was the shutout, and the game before that he gave up a goal. And even the one year that he struggled against Phoenix, 5 of those games went to overtime.
Well, and it's 1 year.
Yes. So Corey easily could have had 3 cups. It was neck and neck between him and I forget the other guy's name, the Finn. What was his name? He went to San Jose after that. He was the goaltender. Yeah, Niemi. And it went down to the last day of camp. Crawford went down, Niemi stayed up. Or else it would have been Crawford's team even starting in 2010.
Yeah.
Corey Crawford basically put the team on its back for the 2011 year and almost got them past Vancouver. And Vancouver ended up going to the Stanley Cup. I have tons of stuff here that I can continue to bore everybody to death with. But all I can tell you is one of the top 5 goaltenders from that time. Okay? They were not beating people because they were outscoring them. They were beating people because he wouldn't let the puck in the net. I don't know why people have a hard problem with giving him the absolute props that he deserves. And after going through all of this, I can't see how at some point in time you don't raise the number. It's just I'm not going to see a goaltender like that again in my lifetime. No way. And just his calm demeanor was incredibly beneficial to the craziness that was the Blackhawk team. Okay, and they had Seabrook, they had Jalmerson, they had Keith, but still, they had a lot of people just go offense. And Corey was the backbone that they knew that they could cheat a little bit occasionally because Corey Crawford was in net. As I said, I just started going through this, and there's really not many goaltenders that were better than him during that time. In the 2015 year, he had 4 games where he gave up a goal or less. Who does that? And then it's supposedly the team in front of him. It wasn't just the team in front of him. Not with those kind of save percentages. So, was he important? Yes. Did they win in 2013 without him? Probably not. Did he have a hiccup in 2013? Yes. But
so does everybody has hiccups, but it's, or at least in my opinion, it's what you do after the hiccup that is the most important.
Well, as I said, the big one was the 2011 or the 2012 season when it was a couple of fluky goals that went past him. And as I said, that it would have destroyed most goaltenders.
Mm-hmm.
And he came back and was lights out. He deserves accolade after accolade. He's never going to get it because even in the Chicago fan base, it's like a 50-50 split where they keep on. And again, it goes back to one game, Game 4 against Boston, where all of a sudden, yeah, every goaltender will be beaten glove hand, top corner. That's the last thing they're taking away, okay? That's every goaltender. That's the Bob. And I was going to look up the Bob, too. And, he's going to go into the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And I would assume his numbers ain't much better than Corey's. So you really got my juices flowing for something in the summertime. And I'm a huge Corey Crawford fan.
Same.
I always like to point it out that I bring up Dominic Hasek because Dominic Hasek would flail to one side and flail to the other side. Because of his poor positioning, his second save would look incredible. Where Corey Crawford's already in the right spot in the first one and has already kicked that away from somebody, they're not getting a second shot on it. he was mechanically so good that
Are you saying Corey Crawford's better than Dominic Hasek?
I'm saying is as good. Yes. Yes, I am. He's got 2 cups. Dominic Hasek has 1.
Period.
Is he as good as Belfour? I don't know. Eddie was incredible. But Eddie was pretty sound also. But he deserves to be talked about on that level. I mean, his problem also is you had Carey Price in that time and Martin Bordeaux, who was incredible. And those were 2 unbelievable goaltenders. But I still believe if he's not Canadian, U.S. born, there's a good chance he's in net for the U.S. instead of Quick.
Yeah.
So it just irks me at times. You go, but look at the numbers. The numbers are staggering, and it's staggering what he does in the playoffs. And it's amazing what he was able to do as far as have a bad outing, and it didn't matter come the next one. I mean, because those Boston, again, the numbers don't lie. It was staggering. Anything else you want to know about Corey?
No, just thoughts, importance. You did great.
Yeah. So, just like anything, you need everybody, but without him, they don't. He's another one, just like Dunk. Without Dunk, you don't. Without the 2 kids, you don't. Without Hossa, I don't know. Maybe you do.
You don't.
You probably don't, but he just it upsets me. It upsets me about the lack of respect.
I definitely agree with you.
Well, you better agree with me. If not, I'll start screaming and yelling.
We don't want to see that. Chris, you got anything else for this week?
I don't think so. I'm very excited about tomorrow. I'm hoping it comes out at 11 our time. I'll tell your listeners there's 1 game to circle. I don't know when it'll be, but you want to circle that first game that Winnipeg's back.
Yeah, definitely.
That will be a massive one to attend.
Definitely. All right. And that is all for this week. Folks, just as a reminder, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, YouTube, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. That is all, and we will talk at you guys next week.